So this week I'm in Sicily. This is in the back of my in-laws' house, and I can show you a little bit. It's getting dark here. This is sort of the view here in the laundry. Still kind of recovering from being sick last week and from travel. That was really awful. Air travel has become just the most inhumane way of traveling, and that's for a thin body. So if you're in a larger body and you have to travel on a plane, it's really so difficult, and that cannot be discounted. But this week, what I really wanted to talk about, I don't know if you do this, I do this at the end of the year. I get very reflective. At the beginning of a new year, I think about like, what are the themes I want to contemplate, that I want to keep coming back to, almost like what are the intentions I want to set. And I've been thinking a lot about meditation and about yoga, and about how when you approach these things as practices, they become less about sort of performing goodness, less about doing it well per se, and more about doing it regardless of sort of how you're feeling on a certain day. So with meditation, you sit and you feel your breath and you let your mind be however it is. So if it's agitated, if it's sleepy, if it's feeling kind of dreamy or creative, you practice with it. You sit and you feel your breath and you let it be. The technique is the same, no matter what's going on up here. And if you get lost and you get wrapped up in thoughts, and those thoughts might be determined by the texture of your mind. Maybe when you're feeling agitated, you get wrapped up more frequently in anxiety types of thoughts. Maybe if you're feeling kind of dreamy, you get wrapped up maybe a little less frequently, but in those types of thoughts. It really doesn't matter. The point is that you do it day after day after day. It doesn't have to be every day, but you do it day after day after day. And in doing that, you develop the familiarity with yourself, with your mind, in all of these different states. So you stay with yourself. You're able to just stay with yourself when you're agitated, when you're dreamy, when you're crabby, when you're tired, when you don't feel like doing this, when you're not sure if this is doing anything good for you, when you're feeling good, when you're feeling good in a different way, right? So this is the point of practice, is to develop a kind of steadfastness, a constancy. I'm a big fan of the word constancy as opposed to consistency. Consistency always feels like it's like this attempt at perfection, right? Constancy feels like there's like continuous effort. And even on the days that you miss, even the weeks or the months that you miss, there can be a constant intention to be with yourself. So the same thing goes for yoga, right? If you have a yoga practice, it's not about only doing it when you feel great. It's about doing it no matter what's going on, and sort of observing how, depending on where your body is on a certain day, yoga has a certain effect. You know, I did some yoga earlier and I just appreciated it so much because I was crammed in this tiny little seat, you know, for so long on the airplane. And you know, my body's still recovering from whatever virus this was. And so just going through the motions of yoga in that state creates that ability to stay with, to be with, and to notice the qualities of that different state. So the reason I'm saying all of this and kind of emphasizing this somewhat boring, somewhat repetitive quality is because I wonder if we can start to look at our intuitive eating practice in a similar way, so that we're essentially doing the same things. Sorry, it's getting darker. We're doing the same things. We're trying to prioritize sleep. We're trying to eat according to our physical hunger for the most part. We're trying to eat a combination of protein, carb, and fat. We're paying attention to our preferences and our cravings and noticing what it's like when we respect those preferences and cravings, and how that affects the level of fullness that we eat to, how that affects our overall degree of satisfaction. We try to move our bodies in ways that feel good, that don't feel like the only goodness that we experience is when we get through it. There's actually also a sensation of goodness, of satisfaction, of pleasure, of engagement during. And we try to do all of these things in some way or another every day, like a practice. And when we try to do intuitive eating, when we practice doing intuitive eating on the day that things feel relatively easeful, we observe what that's like. When we attempt to practice intuitive eating on days that feel more difficult, we see what that feels like. When we are having a difficult body image day and we still commit to practicing intuitive eating on those days, we notice what that's like, and what that's like the day after, the day after, the day after, what that's like in terms of affecting the arc of a bad body image day or days, to have practiced with constancy the principles of intuitive eating. So mull this over, think about this, if this interests you in any way, as we close out 2022, as we begin 2023, whether you could start to look at your intuitive eating practice, not as like a pass or fail exam, not as like something in which you'll never be good enough, but something in which you're practicing. That it just has these elements of something. This is what I do for my intuitive eating practice. These are the qualities that I rouse. These are the actual actions that I take for my intuitive eating practice. And how does that end up supporting me to do other things in my life? I think it might be worth asking those questions and just seeing what it's like. And I think I'm going to be talking about this more in the new year, the practice of intuitive eating and how it parallels with the practices of meditation and yoga, and how meditation and yoga actually give us the analogy and the framework and a sort of a concrete example of what it's like to have a practice that you do again and again and again through different internal states, how that supports us in a way. Okay, so happy holidays. I hope you're all feeling well and strong, and that you're celebrating all the little ways in which you are caring for yourself and certainly caring for other people. And yeah, just bring some awareness to these things as we close out this year, hopefully with a little greater emphasis on gratitude, right? Because it can be tempting to in looking at the new year, think about what you didn't do and what you would like to do, but also take some time to acknowledge what you have accomplished, even if it's just deciding that this is something that you want to pay attention to, even if it's noticing something that you couldn't before. Those are all things to celebrate. So happy early new year. I'll talk to you next week. And I hope that you are signed up for our meditation for intuitive eaters on Wednesday mornings. I'll be doing that tomorrow from here. It'll be like 3:15 instead of 9:15, but I'll be there, and hope you will be too. Okay.